What's up, guys? It's Potato Wedge, and welcome back to Wedge Gang.
Wedge Gang, cousin.
Episode 2 of Wedge Gang. And, today we are going to be... the fuck are you laughing at?
I coughed.
Today, for episode 2 of Wedge Gang, we're going to be ranking all the Star Wars movies from worst all the way up to number 1, which is the best, in our opinions. And, you got yours?
Yep, we all got a sheet of paper, we all written down
Now,
our rankings.
I do just want to point out that, because there's going to be the toxic Star Wars fans who are like, oh, you put a New Hope at... Shut up. It's my list. It's my opinions. But I do just want to say that these are our opinions on how we view the movies, which is worst and best, so don't be a fucking keyboard warrior down in the comments.
We don't care, and
Yeah, we don't care.
if it's negative, we're not gonna look at it.
I mean, I'll look at it, but I won't care. So, do y'all just want to have one person do it at a time, or we go one by one, each of us?
I would
One
say
by one each of us.
no, like you say off what your first one is, and then we'll see if we have the same one, and then if we have different, we'll explain why.
Okay. So, number 11, which is the worst for me, is Solo.
My number 11, actually Rogue One,
Get off this couch.
only because it didn't stick with me. Like I didn't like it's. I don't remember the movie. I've watched it at least twice, and I don't remember anything that happened in it. And usually, I'm really good with remembering movies. So, yeah.
No, you ain't.
Yeah, I am actually.
What's yours?
Me and Bailey are movie fanatics. So. I agree with you on that one. Solo, I liked it, but it was just we didn't need it.
Literally nobody asked for it.
We didn't need
Nobody cares
Y'all are gonna hate me then.
how Chewbacca met Han Solo. Nobody gives a single shit. Nobody asked for that movie. That movie was not a necessity.
And that's not specifically saying it was a bad movie.
It was a bad movie.
In your opinion, I enjoyed the movie. Like the movie was really good, but
The only
just
part
didn't need it.
The only part of the movie I enjoyed was about the 3 seconds that Darth Maul was on screen. And then as soon as he
3
was
minutes.
gone, as soon as he was off screen, I did not give a shit less anymore. I didn't give a shit up until that point, and then after that point he was gone, I didn't give a shit again. So, do you want to explain why you like Solo?
Well, he'll get to that, right?
We'll get to that
Oh,
later.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Okay, so number 10 for me is The Last Jedi. Honestly, with me, when I first went to watch it in theaters, I liked it, and then I didn't watch it again until it came out on Blu-ray and I bought it, and then when I watched it the second time after I bought it, I didn't like it. I do think that it was a cool concept in the final fight scene to have a Jedi and a Sith team up, because we've never really seen that before, but overall the movie for me fucking sucked. I didn't like it.
My number 10, Force Awakens. Now, I remember everything that happened in the movie, okay? It's whenever fucking...
The girl.
It's whenever
It's
Rey,
in the droid.
started her, transition into Star Wars. And
White and yellow.
I didn't really like...
White and yellow.
Hey, we're taking turns here.
Yeah, but the girl.
An orange. And
Rey! I didn't really like...
Ray!
Oh my god.
I really didn't like the
Do you
concept
mind?
of it. Like, it didn't make much sense to me. Like some of the story in The Force Awakens is top notch. Like, you have to watch it in order to understand anything. But like, it just, like, a lot of it didn't make sense to me at all. Like, why does she get, like the main story whenever we just met her in The Force Awakens? Why does she get to be?
Why does she get to be the Jedi and Finn can't?
Exactly. Why does
And
she?
And that's not sexist. That's just saying that Finn would have been a better character.
Why does she get to be like the main character in like 3+ movies?
Okay, but don't you realize that everybody was asking that when the very first Star Wars movie came out, A New Hope, and nobody knew who the fuck Luke was?
Now you know you weren't alive.
How do you not know who Luke is? Like
They
the
did.
first trilogy, like the original.
That was
trilogy?
the very first movie released, A New
Yeah,
Hope.
yeah, I know, but I'm like, okay, but you got.
So everybody was asking those exact same
but
questions.
you got to keep in mind that's why they did backstory movies. You know, episode 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
So they explained exactly who Luke was. So that right there is out of the question.
So what do you think they're gonna do?
Do you really think so? How many? All right. So how many movies
They
exactly do they
explained
have?
what they explained where Rey came from.
Are they coming out with any more movies?
No,
Exactly.
not at the moment.
Exactly. So we don't know when we're gonna get those movies if they do make them.
Now, episode 9 is supposed to be the last of the Skywalker movie, but give it about 10 years, we'll get another one.
Okay. But yeah, like it just didn't make any sense to me. Like she came from nowhere, and like we were supposed to be like, oh my God, Rey is so awesome, she's so powerful, but we don't even know who the fuck she is. That's why I didn't enjoy it, because like, plus not even that, like just like the movie, the first time I watched it, it was really hard to keep my eyes on the screen. Like, I would always be looking at my phone or doing something else, you know, cooking food while the movie's playing. Like, it just did not entertain me that much. I had to sit down and force myself to watch it in order to like actually try to understand what was going on.
Now, contrary to conflict,
What
where
does that
I
mean?
was asking him questions like conflicting his reasoning. Contrary to that, I agree with you on that. My number 10 is Force Awakens, but that's because as a Star Wars fan, we saw exactly what we saw from the very first movie. It was literally the same plot, same ending, same start, same different character, same story.
It was basically a remake of A New Hope.
So that's from a down the heart Star Wars fan. That is my reasoning why I put it number 10. It's not that bad of a movie. I'm going to say this about all the Star Wars movies because I love Star Wars. They're not all bad movies. I just didn't agree with taking a script and changing the characters.
Just basically reskinning it.
That's basically all they did.
Yeah.
It was dumb, but not to say it was good or bad. I enjoyed watching the movie. It's just number 10 on my spot for a reason.
Now, hold on. Before we go any further, going back to The Last Jedi, the reasons I didn't like it is because, for one, what the fuck, Disney, did you do to Luke Skywalker? Okay. For two, how the fuck are you gonna build Snoke up to be this big threat and then just kill him off? What the fuck, dude? Like, and the other reason is I don't particularly like the fact that Luke, they were basically almost in the trailer, almost setting Luke up to be a bad guy, which would have been fucking cool. But they didn't go that route. But instead, they decided to make him basically a piece of shit coward instead of the hero that we knew at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Coward!
Right. I see what you're saying now.
Right, like he
Wait, what movie are you talking about again?
The Last Jedi.
Okay.
I see what you're getting at, yeah.
This is your number 9?
Because
No, I said before we go to number 9.
Okay.
It was just getting some thoughts.
But we also gotta, as a Star Wars fan, you just gotta understand that there was a long time span. He lived his life. Like,
But we never saw his life past episode 6.
agreed. You got to see it in Mando, so it was pretty cool.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. But alright, on to the next one. Number 9.
My number 9. Oh my god, this is gonna be controversial as fuck. I already know. My number 9 is A New Hope. And that's not to say that I don't like the movie. It is a very iconic movie. It started Star Wars, but all in all, compared to the other ones, I'm sorry, it's fucking boring. to watch. Like, literally. When I'm having a Star Wars marathon and I get to episode 4, I'm literally watching the movie like this. The whole time. I'm like, will it end? Can we end it yet? Like, I'm sorry, I had a piece of hair in my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like the movie, but it's boring. Like, you're talking to... and this is not to defend the prequels or anything. I am a kid who grew up with the prequels, but it's just boring. I would rather watch The Last Jedi, which I hate. I would rather watch that than A New Hope.
David?
My number 9, Return of the Jedi. I like that one a lot, mainly because, not really like a lot, like, it's decent, but I like it to an extent to where it's better than the fucking Force Awakens. You know what I mean? Like it gave you the scene of, like, Luke Skywalker coming back, facing his papa, and basically like, I don't care if you're my dad or not, fuck you. And then he talks to him and tries to get him to go to the good side. He was like, it's too late for that. But he ends up, you know, getting him to do it, but a little bit too late. And then Palpatine, you know, yeah, wave the fingers. You know?
Wizard fingers.
Like, he does his thing and basically fucks up, you know, the future that, you know, Anakin and Luke could have had. And so,
Had he survived.
But it was like, the reason it's my number 9 is because it took too long to get to that point, you know, of the conveyance of, you know, it's never too late to turn back to the good side. But it was good for the fact that Vader actually had the thought of, okay, I might want to do this. It might be good. You know, it might be, you know, what's best.
Makes him more human.
Exactly. It makes him have those, you know, regrets and emotions. And which is why I like it. You know, it conveyed something that, you know, we didn't really, you know, see in the first, you know, couple movies. But yeah, go ahead.
My number 9 is Empire Strikes Back.
You need to speak up.
Number 9 is Empire Strikes Back.
He said number 9 is Empire Strikes Back.
For the fact, just because, you know, I just didn't like it. I mean, like your number 9. It's just like, when is it gonna be done? I mean, it's iconic because it's the first time we got to see Luke fight Vader. Okay. But that was practically the only good part. He got his hand chopped off just like his dad, pretty much fighting Dooku. Like, I just felt like, come on, please end, you know? But yeah, I mean, that's really my only reasoning. Just I didn't like it. That was my opinion. I put it number 9 because
And number 8 for me. Now, from number 8, and again, that's not saying I don't like A New Hope, because I do. It's just boring to me. Number 8 up for me is all movies that I will watch pretty much on repeat. Like, I like them that much. Now, there are some movies that have some problems in this from 8 up, but still. My number 8 is Rogue One. Simply because that was the first movie that Disney gave us that had Darth Vader back. And even though that was kind of confusing because they were releasing main movies with going back to the past movies each fucking year. But Rogue One is a story that a lot of people, I wouldn't say necessarily myself, I don't really give a shit how they got the Death Star plans. But Rogue One was a story that a lot of people in the fan base wanted to see how they got the Death Star plans and everything, what happened. The only thing that really sucked for me about that movie is, for one, I don't think Vader was in it enough. He should have been in it way more. And for 2, as soon as I sat down to watch the movie, I knew every character that we were getting introduced to was gonna die at the end. Because none of them are in episode 4. So, that kind of ruined my Rogue One experience because I basically knew all of them were gonna die anyway. But the ending scene with Vader on that ship, oh my god! Yes.
Is that it?
Yes. Like he's the movie that bitch. Number 8 for you, sir.
Empire Strikes Back.
Nice, nice one.
Well, you see, sir.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
All right, so the reasoning for my number 8 is because Luke and Darth Vader. They are 19 years apart. They've been apart from each other for 19 years, and Vader gained the courage to say, "Luke, I am your father." Type
It's
shit.
actually not how that line goes.
I don't give a fuck. But
No, I think that's really interesting. Like, not to gloss over what you're saying, but I think that's really interesting. Like the Mandela effect has on that movie, that line specifically. Everybody says, "Luke, I am your father." It's actually, "No, I am your father." He never once says, "Luke, I am your father," ever. But back to what you were saying. I just wanted to point that out. But back to what you were saying there.
all right, Mr. Technicality. All right, get the fuck out of here.
Sorry.
It's my turn now. Stop.
Let me bite it.
Lick the tan off it.
You're salty.
Salty.
Oh my god.
Bite it like an apple.
All right, but the reasoning is because Darth Vader gave that line, "No, I am your father," whatever. It was a really powerful thing. Okay, like it again took a little bit longer to get to that point. That's why it's so low on my list. But the reasoning it's kind of higher than the rest of them is because it's such a powerful scene, and it obviously had to mean a lot. So, and it conveyed itself pretty decently. Yeah, it got us to where we are now in the franchise. But it's decent. It's okay. Okay, here we go.
My number 8 is Return of the Jedi. The beginning where Luke's rescuing Leia. It's a badass scene, but he didn't do much. Like, the whole movie is like Return of the Jedi. Like, he's supposed to be a Jedi, right? Where all he did was use a couple words and his papa saved the day.
Actually, Return of the Jedi doesn't reference for Luke. It actually references for Anakin. Return of the Jedi.
Because he was the last Jedi.
Like, just drop a little more knowledge on y'all.
But still, it was an okay movie, but I felt like it could have been better if they put more into Luke other than Vader. I'm not saying like it was bad. I'm just saying like we got to see enough of Anakin. We got to see enough of Vader. Should have been like they were portraying Luke. He was the new hope, the new chosen one. So just my opinion. So, next one.
Alright, number 7 for me is Empire Strikes Back. Because obviously that movie's iconic with that iconic line that Vader says to Luke. And that's really the movie where everybody tells Luke that, "Oh, you're destined to become your father." And as we find out in Return of the Jedi, Luke's like, "No, I'm not going to do that." But this is basically the movie where Luke gets trained, and then he gets told that he's basically destined to become his father when he goes into the cave on Dagobah and cuts off Vader's head and realizes that it's his head in the helmet. And he's basically like, "No, I'm not going to do that. That's not my path." Love that movie. I love it a lot. little known fact that whole Darth Vader, I am your father line is one of the best kept secrets in history. Because George Lucas, I don't even think George Lucas let Mark Hamill know until the day of shooting that that was going to happen. But it still remains because everything gets fucking leaked nowadays with the internet. That is one of the best kept secrets ever. And the movie's badass. I love it a lot, and that is my number 7.
Last Jedi is my number 7.
You're psycho. Just saying.
Let me have a word with you. Okay, so.
I don't know why I just said it. I'm sorry.
This is what you're doing. This is what I want you to do. Alright? Give me 1 second. The reason The Last Jedi is my number 7, it's low on my list, mainly because fuck Rey. You fucking yellow-sabered bitch. Alright?
That doesn't happen in that.
I don't give a fuck. It's gonna happen. You all know it's gonna happen. But it was dope as fuck, man, mainly because of, Kylo's story. I liked Kylo's story. Yeah, his is pretty fucking dope. I like the way he was brought up and all that, and that's why I like it. It's one of those movies that I'm not gonna watch repeatedly, you fucking weirdo. But I won't say no to it. Like it's one of those movies that really got me, eyes drawn. It's fun. It's great. It's good to watch. But fuck Rey.
Fuck Rey.
I was messing with you about that, but I agree with you on that.
What,
My
fuck
number,
Rey? Because fuck that bitch.
My number 7 is also The Last Jedi. But that's because it's just... Luke went out
Like a bitch.
like a bitch. I like the movie, but like there was a bunch of scenes, shots that were uncalled for. Like, to say, Finn's when they're about to crack open the last spot the resistance at, and Finn flies it, like, Rose should have let him sacrifice himself. Like, that would have been 10 times better.
He would have got a hero's death.
Right. But all that dude just keeps doing is screaming Rey.
Okay, question. Why the fuck did they make that a fucking thing for Finn? Just screaming Rey.
Well, see, even John Boyega, the guy who played Finn, when after the last movie came out, he was like, you guys knew what to do. You had a plan for Kylo Ren and Rey, but when it came to me, it was just fuck all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, apparently Disney, like, is pissed at him for that, because it's true. I mean, they were setting up a really good story for him. A story I would have liked to see, a stormtrooper become a Jedi. That's fucking
nice.
badass.
And why would they introduce him as one of the main characters if they were going to make him so filler?
Exactly. And then by the end of it, basically by the end of The Last Jedi and the whole Rise of Skywalker, he's just reduced to Rey. Like, what the fuck? Like, his story is a story that I would have loved to see as the main character. A stormtrooper becoming a Jedi. That's amazing. That's an amazing concept.
What if they, like, during, like, the when they first got, Rey and Finn, together in The Force Awakens, what if, like, they put them on the screen together to see which one got more, like, more of a hype message from the audience, and they would push that person forward, the most.
No, obviously it would have been Finn.
I mean, yeah, but, like, with all these, women empowerment.
Well, see, that's just something I want to make. That's something I want to make clear to everybody. Is like, we don't hate Rey because we're sexist or anything.
Oh,
like
no,
it's
I'm
not.
far from
It's
sexist.
not like that. We love women lead roles and everything, but when it's not deserved, and I'm not saying Daisy Ridley didn't deserve that role. I'm saying the way that shit played out through that trilogy
It was
with
fucking garbage.
Rey.
It was fucking garbage.
Rey did not earn anything. She did not earn her powers. She did not train for her powers until the last fucking movie. But even then, Disney made her out to be the best fucking all-time greatest fucking Jedi ever. No, she's not. She's not even a Jedi.
They tried to play her off as, Anakin, but as an older person. Like, I kind of just realized that, and it's kind of garbage. Like, she was, she was a scavenger. She was, I'm living in the desert. I live in a fucking burnt down ship to moving on to newer places, getting to know something more, something bigger, and like it's kind of, again, a remapped version of Anakin.
They basically made her a new version of Luke and Anakin put together.
Exactly, and that's dog shit, like 100%.
Like Rey, honestly, I don't even think that Rey. I mean, not that she pretty much had much of a choice, because that's who she came from. But honestly, as a character, I don't think that she earned. For one, I don't think she earned the fact that she is related to Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
And she sure as fuck did not earn the last name Skywalker.
That doesn't even make any sense, honestly. Alright, how can you be a Skywalker? No, okay, that makes sense now. I forgot. Yeah, Palpatine and Anakin.
But,
yeah.
To wrap up on my number 7, it was The Last Jedi. It's a good movie. Not a bad movie. It holds one of my favorite fight scenes of Kylo and Rey in the Red Room. It's probably one of my favorite fight scenes in all of Star Wars. I could rank it up there. But the movie in itself, I just couldn't agree with it. Really. That's my reason.
Sorry for that little rant that we just went on. But, my number 6 is The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I will admit that when I went to see this, I did have issues with it, and I still have issues with the movie. But I do believe even with the flaws, it's still a good movie. The whole bringing Palpatine back thing, that was not the plan at all. They had no fucking clue what the plan was, the whole trilogy. Because at first, Rey was going to be Obi-Wan's granddaughter. At one point, she was going to be Kylo's sister. They had no fucking clue what they were doing with her. But, so, I didn't like that part about the movie, that she's a Palpatine. She's a Skywalker. But, the parts I do really like the bouncing off between, Finn and Poe Dameron. I fucking loved. Every time they were on screen together, I was dying laughing. So they're a really good part of the movie. Leia, R.I.P. Carrie Fisher. She was excellent as always, and that is her last Star Wars movie, which was really heartbreaking. The ending, will say it's bullshit, I think, because I honestly think that Rey should have died and Ben Solo should have lived to be the last Skywalker, but no, that's not what we got. But it was cool to see that the Skywalkers eventually did get the power to keep the ones that they loved from dying. Oh, and Rey's yellow lightsaber was cool. Don't get me wrong, it was cool, but it went absolutely fucking nowhere. It was literally the last scene of the movie. And she buried my man's lightsaber in the sand when he don't like sand.
Dude, I seen this meme on TikTok. It said Rey bearing Anakin and Leia's lightsabers, and it said later Grievous. He was taking out the lightsabers.
Dude, I saw this fucking meme where she was burying the lightsabers in the sand, and the Force Ghost of Anakin just shows up and said, "I don't like sand." But overall, the movie does have its problems, but it is still, in my opinion, better than The Last Jedi. And I can sit down and actually enjoy The Rise of Skywalker. So that is why it's my number 6. Fucking stupid.
Okay. Alright.
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 Bitch.
Fuck off.
No. Ow. Okay. You knocked the wind out of me.
You're not gonna cramp in my chicken.
Can you say your number 6, please,
I'm in too
before
much
my
pain.
phone has full storage and we can't upload?
My number 6 is A New Hope. Okay, although it was the very first Star Wars movie, I like it because it gives us, the telltale of how Luke, grew up and where he came from or what he did.
I was gonna go into town and get some power converters. Fucking whiny little bitch. And y'all said Anakin was whiny? What the fuck?
At least
What?
he had game.
Right, he was 9 pulling a 14-year-old.
Right,
Come on
and
now.
Luke kissed his sister.
Luke pulled his sister. Come on now.
The fuck is that?
But after watching episode 3, knowing what happened to Luke, where he went, episode 4 was a good backstory for him, at least in my opinion. So that's why Hope is my number 6.
He's a daddy's boy.
He's got daddy issues. His dad's trying to kill him.
My number 6, and from 6 on, 6 on up, really, I won't have anything bad to say. But from 6 on up is all the movies that I thoroughly enjoyed watching, I like, and they had pivotal moments in the movies. And they
And
were
in our
pivotal
lives.
movies. Were also pivotal movies in the Star Wars eras. Different eras, everything like that. But mine was my number 6 was A New Hope, and it was more because it was the first one on screen. It was the first one we got to see, first movie that we got to experience Star Wars ever.
Wasn't the one I
Me
experienced
personally, no, the one I experienced first.
Is our number 1.
Right.
Which we will speed to.
But everybody got introduced into that franchise and come to love it because of this movie. I have nothing bad to say about it. Simple as that.
I like it.
Right.
My number 5
Really?
yes,
Oh, sweet.
is The Phantom Menace. Now, this was the first prequel that came out, and everybody fucking hated it.
I don't like you.
I don't like you either. Now, everybody hated this fucking movie when it came out because it was all about politics and, everybody said it's not Star Wars.
In that era, that's what it was.
But you have to understand that by the time that The Phantom Menace takes place, the Jedi were corrupt. They were already corrupt. They weren't worried about being peacekeepers anymore. They were worried about pleasing the Senate. Doing anything they can to please the Senate. They were all about politics. They were corrupt at this point. So The Phantom Menace is where we get first introduced to Anakin Skywalker as a kid. The pod race, very iconic. Very iconic. Love that scene. And the only other scene, Qui-Gon, badass Jedi. He should have stayed alive, I think.
He did.
We get to meet young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we also get to see the meeting of Anakin and Obi-Wan as they meet for the first time. And the only other part of this movie that I like is the final lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. And we get one of the most badass villains in this movie, which is Darth Maul and his double-bladed lightsaber. And for you softcore Star Wars fans like him over here, Darth Maul didn't die, so if you want to know the rest of his story, go watch the Clone Wars. Fuck you.
I don't like cartoons.
Well, they don't like you!
I like big boy movies.
But, Death of Qui-Gon, very, obviously...
Very pivotal moment.
Very pivotal moment, because they are fighting for the fate of Anakin Skywalker. If Qui-Gon dies, Anakin's fucked. Which he was. If Qui-Gon stayed alive, I really do believe that Anakin would not have turned to the dark side. So that is my number 5. Oh, and fuck Jar Jar Binks. Misa, so fuck you, yeah.
You take that back.
You shut your face.
You take that back.
You shut your face.
He will always be the best.
No, he's not.
Yes, he was.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No.
Always will be.
No.
Bitch.
Oh, and in episode 1, we get to find out that E.T. exists in Star Wars.
Yeah.
My number 5 is also Phantom Menace.
Are we twins?
Maybe. I honestly don't like the fucking pod races. It wasn't needed. Like, honestly.
What the?
It actually was needed.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Wind backwards.
It wasn't.
And say it again?
Like, you can say that Anakin, did a pod race, but you don't gotta fucking show it.
Okay.
Like, it's not needed.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
needed
No,
because
it's not.
that's the only way to get off the planet.
Uncultured.
Well, you can say he won the fucking pod race. You don't gotta show it. It's not interesting.
Uncultured swine. Let me explain to you.
You uncultured swine.
Okay, did you notice? Did you see any other human beings
In that
pod
race.
racing?
No.
He's the only human that
Right.
can do it.
Doesn't mean it's needed.
Guess
'cause
what?
He's the
Guess
chosen
what?
one.
Guess what? There's been no other human being to sit in a pod race and complete one. And he won it. for
At
his
9 years
freedom.
old!
Okay, shut the fuck up.
Come on now.
You know who else? You know what other 9-year-old is doing big steps like that?
Oh,
Lil
fuck
Tay, okay?
If it-
She
alright,
owns
listen,
a toilet
the
that costs more than your mama's rent,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And when Eminem murdered Machine Gun Kelly, he said he was babysitting that little bitch.
Shut the fuck up. Dude, let me fucking talk. Fucking dick.
I didn't know I was going to escalate to that. I think after I called you an uncultured swine, Bailey just took off.
I'm only 9 years old!
Not on camera, dude. Come on. Oh my god, it's getting hot. It's getting hot. Oh fuck, dude. Ow.
So, so are you gonna
Shut
talk about
up.
your number 5?
Shut up. Okay, The Phantom Menace. Whew. Okay, it's hot. A Phantom Menace. Only because. It's my number 5, only because. I personally did not enjoy the pod races. Shut the fuck up. But I did enjoy him being taken by Qui-Gon
Oh god, that sounded weird. He's taken by Qui-Gon, bro.
to the Hall of Jedis.
To the Hall of Jedi.
I don't even know that place.
That's what I'm calling it.
It's called Coruscant, my guy.
The Hall of Jedis.
Bitch. It's called the Jedi Temple.
I don't give a fuck. It's a hall with Jedi surrounding it.
And he's only 9 years
I
old.
don't give a fuck. Shut the fuck up. But I enjoyed that scene a lot because it gave Anakin the right path to become the actual chosen one, and it made Anakin the Anakin that we know today. So that's why I enjoyed
You mean the dead one?
He might as well have never stepped in that fucking pond.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
Alright, what's your number 5?
He wasn't dead forever. He's a Force ghost.
Oh my god.
He's not.
He's immortal.
Which one are we on?
5.
5.
You uncultured swine.
My number 5 is Attack of the Clones. But, like I said, from 6 on up, I have nothing bad to say. So, let's talk about the fucking pros of this movie.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. No, that's number one. Sorry.
We got to see Anakin and what he could accomplish in how many years?
He was 19, so about
10 years.
We got to see what he
Calculator. Shut the fuck up.
under the training of Obi-Wan.
Kenobi.
We got to see everything that he accomplished. Not only that, we got to see him fall in love. We got to see the most surreal love story of all time start. It didn't. Well, I would say, personally, my opinion, I would say in Attack of the Clones, that's when the love story started.
Fucking chick.
I would agree with that because in episode 1 it was just a crush.
Right. And
A mutual crush.
Are you an
we
angel?
we also got to see I would say Anakin wasn't in his prime, but
Oh no.
right before he peaked to his prime becoming a Jedi Knight, he faced Darth Tyrannus, aka Count Dooku,
Count Wizard Fingers.
by himself, a dark Jedi, a Dark Lord as they called him, by himself as a Padawan, as a Jedi Padawan. And he stood toe to toe, blow for blow, until like 2 minutes, because you know Anakin can't last long. That was a good joke, wasn't it?
Shut the fuck up.
But
They ruined it.
and we got to see the foreshadowing of him becoming more
Darth Vader.
inhuman. He got his limb taken off. He
His
lost
mother-
something.
His mother dying.
We got to see him losing and starting to fade. That was just one of the big pivotal moments and big pivotal movies in the franchise. That's why I placed it on number 5.
My number 4, The Force Awakens. I actually really, really enjoyed this movie. Loved it when it first came out. Still love it. I could pop it in right now. I'd be fucking, I would be content. The Force Awakens, for me, when it first came out, that pivotal moment, I'm not trying to say pivotal a lot in this video, but
Pivotal.
that moment, that first moment when he steps off the ship and you see Kylo Ren for the first time and you hear his voice, it's intimidating a little bit.
It is.
And when
I
he
agree
brings
with
out his crossguard lightsaber, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's funny how Disney tried to market it as Kylo Ren was the only Force being that had a crossguard lightsaber. Disney did not create that design. A crossguard lightsaber is actually a very ancient design of a lightsaber.
That was actually forbidden.
It was forbidden
Why was it forbidden? Explain.
because
So, okay, so safe to say,
Because.
anything other than a single guarded or a single lightsaber, a single blade lightsaber,
back in
the
the day,
Jedi deemed too
dangerous.
for a Jedi to use. For the single fact, they could accomplish just the same with one single lightsaber.
But then you gotta worry
The more attacking, like, cause you gotta think of it. Darth Maul's 2 blades as
No
one,
guard.
2 blades as one. More movement. It's like a staff. You know how agile you can be with a single blade, but double the damage and still be just agile.
If anything, I feel like you're more agile with a double bladed because if you miss the first, with the first blade, you can easily just come back around with the second blade.
Right.
With the first one, you have to come all the way back around and go through.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But see,
So-
you also have to keep in mind that when this was considered and it was still considered dangerous in the Force Awakens as a dangerous design because of the exhaust ports, the ventilation, because those also create a laser, as in for the blade, that if someone goes to cut your arm off, you can block it with those little, you know.
But that right there is what's good. Like with the other sabers, if you're trying to clash or lock up, then they could easily just slide down your fucking
Right.
saber blade, and then you cut your fucking hand off or your fingers.
Right.
But the Jedi deemed anything too unnecessary to be forbidden. For the single fact, they had texts, scriptures, and forms for a single lightsaber. None of the forms, none of the Sith forms, none of the Jedi forms were ever created outside a single-bladed lightsaber. So, with the Sith knowledge and Jedi knowledge and their deep, practice with their practices, they deemed it unnecessary and forbidden. Just because that's what they had been taught. That's what they had been known to do.
And you also have to think, in the Old Republic, when crossguards were fairly common, they were only used by Sith. It was actually a Sith design. That's why the Jedi didn't want to use it.
It'd been cool to see a fucking crossguard with a fucking blue lightsaber. It's been cool.
Oh, in Rebels, Ezra finds a crossguard that's green.
That's cool.
But, anyway, back to my point. The Force Awakens, love that movie. We get introduced to Kylo, which I think he's a good villain, but he could have been done a lot better.
Right.
I would have much rather followed Kylo's story or Finn's than Rey's. But we get the death of Han Solo in this movie, which, thank God, because I cannot stand him.
Especially not in Battlefront 2.
Oh, God, fuck him. Fuck him. Little rolling bastard. But, very good movie, in my opinion. I love it, and I can watch it pretty much any time. What is yours?
For what? 4?
Number 4.
Attack of the Clones. Episode 2.
Right. Alright, we're gonna have to hurry up because we're
Okay.
at almost an hour.
Well, let's just
Died.
stop. Let's just stop
No, it's not, because if it's too long of a video, my phone will corrupt it.
Let's stop.
I'm trying to think. Why did I do that? Attack of the Clones is number 4 on my list, mainly because, as he said earlier, the love story between Padme and Anakin. It became more of a love story than a crush, and that right there, it gave more of a storyline in Revenge of the Sith. It gave more impact.
more of a human feel. To
Exactly. It gave it more of an impact, and it made you feel connected with the characters more than Phantom Menace did. So that's why it's so high on my list.
My number 4 is Rogue One. Just because nothing beats that ending scene. Nothing beats it. Not a single thing. Sorry. I'm gonna be honest. Nothing beats that scene. Not even the
Don't
music.
you say it.
Remember, Bailey, we gotta hurry up.
That's true.
Remember, Bailey, we gotta hurry up.
Just nothing beats that. It's number 4 on my list. Rogue One. I enjoyed the movie. That final scene, it made the movie for me. I put it number.
I know
4
the
on my
one
list.
thing that comes close to that scene. The Mandalorian.
Yes.
And you know what scene
Yes.
I'm talking about. No spoilers.
Spoiled.
Go watch it.
You don't even watch The Mandalorian.
So I don't know what scene they're talking about.
Alright,
It's a
my...
green saber. Let me just tell you.
Shut your face! That could be anybody.
The Hall of the Jedi.
Shut the fuck up.
My number 3 is Return of the Jedi. Now, it's number 3 because it is one of the movies I hold most dear in my heart. It's one of the Star Wars movies I love the most because we get Luke with his green lightsaber, which was modeled after Obi-Wan's.
His master, by the way.
His master. we get the final fight between Anakin and Vader. Wow, between Luke
Pretty
and
much.
Vader, which is an iconic fight. It's so full of emotion, and you get the very first time you get to meet Mr. Wizard Fingers. Turn to the dark side.
Unlimited power.
But I would say Anakin. Anakin's funeral is always a tearjerker for me. Seeing his Force Ghost and actually seeing Hayden as
Now.
Anakin, as Anakin's Force Ghost, just is a tearjerker for me. I grew up with Hayden as Anakin, so to see that funeral and see Hayden actually show up, it just means a lot to me. So that's my number one. That's my reason why Return of the Jedi is my number 3.
My number 3 is Rise of Skywalker. It's so high up on my list.
'Cause you're a bitch.
Listen.
Listen.
I'm going to tell you why I don't like it first. I referenced it earlier with The Last Jedi. The yellow saber bitch, you know. Rey. Fuck you.
Fuck Rey, dude.
Now, don't get me wrong. The saber was fucking baller, okay? The way
fucking
it
dope.
fucking like fired, it said, and it opened, and it fucking, went up. That was fucking dope.
But it didn't go anywhere.
It didn't. That's the reason why I don't like
I
it.
wonder why she even pulled it out.
Be like, look what I got.
Look what I got. You can't see me use it though.
It's
Maybe we'll find out.
it's a dope
We'll
movie.
never know.
And it was also cool that her yellow saber, the actual hilt of it, is from her staff.
Right.
That was cool.
That was cool. That was so cool. That was so cool. But the reason I like the movie, is because the scenes that Kylo and Rey have together, they're fucking badass. Okay. Whenever fucking Kylo was, talking to his father, Han Solo, towards like the middle-ish, endish part of the movie,
That's a tearjerker.
that was a fucking huge ass tearjerker.
Honestly, I was confused. I felt like I was in like
He
deja vu.
he was fighting with his own head.
At first, I was confused because I was like, Han Solo isn't Force sensitive.
Right.
Yeah, and he was fighting with his own thoughts. And
But then
like,
when he said it was a memory, I was like, oh, okay.
can I talk?
Yes, 10.
But he was fighting with his own thoughts, and like honestly, that kind of hit me different because I go through the same shit, and I've done some very, very terrible things that I can't get away from, and him doing that with his father, it really made a huge impact, and it made me kind of tear up a little bit. Okay, I ain't gonna lie to you, and seeing him throw his saber off of that huge ass fucking ship, it kind of is like, well, what's gonna go now? What's gonna happen? Where is he gonna go from here? And then a couple scenes later, he's teaming up with Rey, which was badass as fuck, and
He got to use Anakin's saber.
he got to use Anakin's saber. That was
By the way, I think that was one of the first times we got to see a Force sensitive use a blaster to its full capacity.
yeah, which was that was
And
fucking dope. Baller as
Not
fuck.
only did he use a blaster, the blaster fairly looked like
Han Solo's.
Han Solo's.
But okay, so they're not related, right? Or they are.
They are.
Who?
Ben and Rey.
What's with Star Wars and like like incest?
Incest.
Yeah, like she was dying, she was dead, and he
should have left her there. He should have just left.
and she comes back just enough to do, and then he dies. Like the fuck. Like I get it, you gave her your life source, but dude, why?
You should have just
Why?
left.
I mean, I get you guys, had a lot, going for you, and you guys were-
They finger fucked in The Last Jedi when they did this
They,
shit.
they tickled tips.
They did. I think that's funny. That's the closest thing in Star Wars we've had to a sex scene.
just
Is
the
them
tip.
touching fingers.
just the tip.
Just the finger.
Just a tip.
Fucking sausage party.
Just a tip.
Excuse me. Are you a mom? Alright, what's your number 3?
Oh.
My number 3 is Rise of Skywalker.
Oh,
We got three?
I
No. Fucking Booty Eater.
I seem to be pairing pretty good with David on some of these rankings, but just different opinions. My opinion on Rise of Skywalker, like I said, from 6 up, I have nothing bad to say. I love the movie. It was actually the only movie out of the trilogy, that
we got a badass lightsaber fight.
right, and not only that, but it actually felt like we were back in Star Wars. And we weren't just sitting there, okay, this is filler. What's going to happen this next, you know?
Yeah.
So,
That's how I felt in The Last Jedi. The whole time that Finn and Rose were on that rich-ass planet, I was bored as fuck.
but the Rise of Skywalker, the fight scene between Rey and Kylo, I loved it. I mean, only if it wasn't. It was practical. Only if it wasn't in the rain, or literally on the Death Star in an ocean.
I think that made it cooler.
It did make it cool. I just didn't like the way Kylo looked because with his hair wet, he just fucking looked weird to me. Sorry, but I mean, he was still fucking
Badass.
whooping ass.
Dude, he held off her lightsaber with the Force. That
And-
was some badass shit.
We got to see a lot more in depth of actually how powerful Kylo was. How, not just Kylo, but also Ben. Also what he was taught by Luke, one of the most powerful Jedi to ever live, and the last one to ever live.
Because Rey's not a Jedi.
She's not, she's a bitch.
Fuck that bitch. Fuck her.
But that's my reason.
You stupid son of a bitch.
And then they had Force sex. With the fingers. So my number 2 is Attack of the Clones. So basically, to coalesce what them two said, I honestly believe the love story between, and it continues into Episode 3. The love story between Anakin and Padme is the best fucking love story I have ever seen. Sorry,
And-
Twilight fans.
Yeah,
Go fuck yourself.
And I grew up watching a lot of chick flicks with my mom.
Nigga, you just sneezed on me.
It didn't sneeze. It was vapor. It was vapor on my
Do
mustache.
it again!
It was vapor on my mustache.
It was moustache vapeur.
Well, it got on my arm. You did it again! But Attack of the Clones, best love story in my opinion. I love the love story. Even though I will admit some of the dialogue in that movie is just fucking cringe. And it's not even the way they deliver it, it's just how it's written, the script. I honestly believe that Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen did the best they could with what they had, but the script was shit. At least when it came to the love stuff.
They're two very, very good actors.
Yes.
They were meant to play those roles.
And the final battle between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku, badass fucking fight. The only thing I have a problem with that fight is when Anakin and Dooku start fighting, all the close-ups of their face and you can't really see anything. I don't like that part of the fight. But this is just to let you know how good of a swordsman Anakin was, because Anakin was just a Padawan.
Right.
And by the time Dooku beat him, he was out of breath.
Right.
And Anakin was just a Padawan. So,
And not only that, but while Anakin was a Padawan, he had already mastered, I believe, 5 of the 7 forms of lightsaber combat. So that even with what I said earlier about his progress, we got to see his progress. That right there shows his progress in the 10 years. He learned 5 out of 7 and mastered them.
right. And even Anakin himself, and I agree with it, he says in the movie that he's only a Padawan. But he's already ahead of Obi-Wan. And he is. In Force power, which that was pretty much part of Anakin's downfall. Obi-Wan practiced his Force powers all the time. Anakin never did. Because he didn't have to. He was already powerful as fuck. So that is the reason that in Episode 3, Obi-Wan was able to match Anakin's Force push. Because Obi-Wan spent all his time training and Anakin never did. It was just raw power. But he was already more advanced than Obi-Wan. He was ahead of Obi-Wan. And that's and he lost his mother, and that's really where he started to feel that the Jedi were not teaching him all he could, or all they could. All that he needed to know. And it's also the movie that Anakin and Padme get married. Mm-hmm. Which, beautiful scene. Beautiful scene. There's no dialogue in the scene, just the music, and it's absolutely beautiful. The Battle of Geonosis.
Beautiful. One
One of the most beautiful battle scenes in a Star Wars movie.
The actual one of the pivotal moments, the actual start of the Clone War.
Cheers. So, Attack of the Clones is my number 2.
My number 2. Solo. You want to know why?
Okay, I wouldn't have had a problem if it was a little bit lower, but number 2?
Yeah, listen. It's the
Let's just thank God it wasn't number 1.
I'm fine.
It's one of the only movies that is in the Star Wars franchise
That sucks ass. Other
that
than The Last Jedi.
that I can watch repeatedly and enjoy. So, here's my reasoning. I like backstories, okay? I like knowing how Han Solo came into the franchise, or how he was, brought up into it.
George Lucas looked at Harrison Ford and said, "Hey, you want to roll?" He said, "Okay."
But yeah. So I liked how I didn't really care about how he met Chewie, because I knew that was going to happen anyway. But I just cared how he, went from being
Nothing.
basically he was something. He was
He
basically
worked for the Empire.
Yeah, he was a servant. And he basically broke out of that, said, I'm doing my own thing, fuck y'all, I'm getting out of here.
I'm going to be a spice runner.
And he became
But if you think about it, being a servant to the Empire, guess what you were? Nothing to them.
to them, yeah.
To Vader.
But to him, he was, he was something. And then he came out to be this, big, the only person that can get out of this, I can't remember what it's called, but like this fucking part in the galaxy that is like irreturnable or something like that. And like he was the only one who did that. No one else could. Not even fucking I'm gonna call him fucking, I don't know.
Lando?
Yeah, Lando. I was gonna call him Glover. But
Donald Glover.
The one.
This is America.
yeah, like he couldn't even do it, and he owned the fucking ship. And so like that right there had to say something about Han Solo. And so like that's kind of why I enjoyed the movie, because it had like a lot of good backstory, for Han Solo, and it also referenced Darth Maul again.
He's lucky Vader died, well, he's lucky Anakin died and became Vader, because Han Solo wouldn't have been the best pilot. Just saying.
I know that for a fact. But like he knew how to navigate, around like difficult obstacles.
He knew his way around a joystick.
Hell yeah, dude. He played a lot of Atari. You know what I'm saying? Like.
He was like Grogu. He said, "See that silver ball? I want it."
Well, yeah, that's my number 2. Fuck nuts.
My number 2 is Phantom Menace.
Really?
Well, yes.
Really?
Because it is.
The fuck?
It's because ever since like, I was younger, me and Bailey, we grew up on the prequels. That's all we watched. And of course it wasn't the very first prequel movie we saw, but
It wasn't even the very first Star Wars movie we saw.
right.